Have you ever wondered if the people who built the pyramids, Stonehenge, or the great cities of the Indus Valley knew something we don't? We see them as civilizations of a distant, simpler past. But what if they were preparing for something catastrophic? What if they saw the signs of global disasters and left us clues, hidden in plain sight, for how to survive? Today, we are peeling back the layers of history to uncover the startling evidence that ancient civilizations may have been far more prepared for world-ending events than most people realize. Let's start our journey in a place you might not expect: Turkey. Here, buried deep beneath the Cappadocian plains, lies an underground city called Derinkuyu. This isn't just a few caves. It's a massive, multi-level complex that could house up to 20,000 people, complete with their livestock and food supplies. It has ventilation shafts, wells, stables, chapels, and storage rooms. But the most incredible feature is the massive, stone wheel-like doors, weighing up to 1,000 pounds, that could be rolled from the inside to seal off the passageways. The question is, what were they hiding from? The conventional theory suggests it was a refuge from invaders. But the sheer scale and self-sufficiency of Derinkuyu point to something more. Could it have been designed to survive a prolonged surface catastrophe? An event like a volcanic winter from a super-eruption, or even the fallout from a cosmic impact? Building something this elaborate underground suggests a fear of something that made the surface world uninhabitable for a very long time. Now, let's travel across the globe to the arid coast of Peru. Here we find the Nazca lines, enormous geoglyphs etched into the desert floor. For decades, we've been puzzled by these giant drawings of animals, plants, and geometric shapes, visible only from the sky. Were they messages to the gods? An astronomical calendar? But some researchers propose a more practical and chilling purpose. They believe the lines are connected to water. In one of the driest places on Earth, the Nazca people were masters of hydrology. They built a sophisticated system of underground aqueducts called puquios, many of which are still in use today. Some theories suggest the geoglyphs acted as a map of these underground water sources, or perhaps were part of large-scale rituals to plead for rain during devastating droughts. In a world dependent on a stable climate, the Nazca understood that their biggest threat was a catastrophic lack of water. Their preparations weren't just physical. They were deeply spiritual and woven into the very landscape itself. Speaking of water, let's consider the ultimate water-related disaster: a global flood. Stories of a great deluge are found in cultures all over the world, from the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia to the story of Noah in the Bible, and even in the legends of indigenous peoples across the Americas. While many dismiss these as myths, what if they are a distorted cultural memory of a real event? Around 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, the world experienced a period of rapid warming known as the Younger Dryas. Glaciers melted at an astonishing rate, causing sea levels to rise dramatically. Coastlines were swallowed, and massive glacial lakes could have burst their ice dams, unleashing unimaginable megafloods across entire continents. For the people living at that time, it would have seemed like the entire world was drowning. Perhaps the recurring flood myths aren't just stories, but a shared memory of survival passed down through countless generations. The preparation, in this case, wasn't about building walls, but about passing on a warning. The world can change, and it can change fast. This brings us to one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world: Göbekli Tepe, also in modern-day Turkey. Dated to around 11,600 years ago, it predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the pyramids by 7,000 years. It consists of massive T-shaped stone pillars, intricately carved with animals, arranged in large circles. What's baffling is that Göbekli Tepe appears to be a temple built by hunter-gatherers. Before cities, before pottery, before even agriculture, people came together to build this monumental structure. Why? One compelling theory connects it to a cosmic impact. Researchers have found that the carvings on one of the pillars known as the vulture stone, seemed to depict a celestial map of the sky at the exact time of the Younger Dryas event. They believe it documents a comet impact that triggered the ensuing climate chaos. If this is true, Göbekli Tepe could be the world's oldest observatory, a monument built by the survivors of a cataclysm to record what happened and to track the heavens, perhaps to watch for a repeat event. The preparation here was knowledge. They were trying to understand the cosmos to predict the next disaster. And it's not just about a single event. Let's look at the Maya civilization in Central America. They were brilliant astronomers, and their calendar is famous for its precision. While the whole 2012 doomsday scare was a misunderstanding, the Maya were obsessed with cycles. They tracked not just the movements of the sun and moon, but also the longer, more complex cycles of planets like Venus. They believed history was cyclical, that great ages of creation and destruction would repeat. Their cities were built to withstand powerful earthquakes and hurricanes. Their agricultural systems, like raised fields in swampy areas, were designed to be resilient to both floods and droughts. The Maya didn't just prepare for one type of disaster. They built their entire society around the understanding that stability is temporary and that cosmic and earthly cycles will inevitably bring about periods of chaos. Their intricate calendars were their early warning system, a way to anticipate and prepare for these recurring challenges. Even the way ancient civilizations stored knowledge seems to point towards long-term survival planning. Think of the Great Library of Alexandria, which aimed to collect all the world's knowledge, or the massive stone inscriptions found in Egypt and Mesopotamia. In an age without digital backups, they carved their most important records into stone or hid them in inaccessible places. Why? Because they knew that papyrus burns and clay tablets crumble. Stone endures. They were trying to create a time capsule to ensure that their knowledge, their science, history, and wisdom would survive whatever catastrophe might wipe out their civilization. Incan and Andean cultures developed thousands of potato varieties, suited for different altitudes and climates, and they stored them in specially designed, naturally refrigerated storehouses called kulkas. These weren't just pantries. They were strategic food banks, built to endure years of famine caused by drought, frost, or other disasters. They were safeguarding their genetic heritage, their very source of life, against a future they knew could be uncertain. This wasn't just planning for a bad winter. It was a multi-generational strategy for survival. So what does this all mean for us? We tend to view ourselves as the pinnacle of civilization, technologically advanced and secure. But are we? We are more interconnected and therefore more vulnerable than ever before. A single solar flare could knock out our global power grid. A pandemic can shut down the world in weeks. A changing climate threatens our food and water supplies on a global scale. Perhaps the greatest lesson these ancient civilizations have for us is one of humility. They knew the world was a dangerous and unpredictable place. They watched the sky, they respected the power of nature, and they planned for the long term, for disasters that might not happen for 100 or even 1,000 years. Their preparations were encoded in their myths, their architecture, and their traditions. They didn't have supercomputers or satellites, but they had something we seem to be losing: a deep, generational understanding of resilience and a profound respect for the forces that can unmake a world. The clues are all around us, etched in stone and buried beneath the earth. Maybe it's time we started listening to the whispers of our ancestors. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. If you found this as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the mysteries of the past. Let us know in the comments which ancient preparation you find most incredible. Until next time, keep questioning.